Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's a new week. It's Monday. Well, for those of us on this side of the planet, it's Monday morning. For some of you, it is Sunday night. So, good morning. Good morning. Welcome. And as you pop in, please take a second just to say hi. Let me know who's here. It is lovely to keep, a little bit of a dialogue happening. Sometimes it feels like I'm talking to just kind of this big void. And so getting connection, hearing, getting comments and knowing who's here and who I'm connecting with is, it just really helps that connection. So today it's interesting, just as I wanted to share with you in the 4 minutes before we officially kick off, I was just, this morning I did a meditation with Gabby Bernstein, and it was such a beautiful meditation that I want to share with you, what she shared, because I think it's a fabulous exercise that we can take away and play with in this space that where we are in this more extraordinary everyday space where we're working on becoming healthier, happier, and stronger in every way. So what she did was get us to imagine ourselves as a child, and whatever that age was that came, don't overthink it. It is just taking a moment with your eyes closed to picture yourself as a child. So for me, I was about 4 or 5. I think it was definitely preschool, and being taken by the hand by that child version of yourself on an adventure of fun, and just being led and um, experiencing where you end up and the things that you do. And it was just there was a few aha moments as I did that were really beautiful. And good morning. Good morning. Oh, that's such a beautiful comment. Thank you. I want to say your name, but I'm not sure who has left that beautiful comment, but it is lovely to have you here. Work is getting in the way. It happens. It happens. So on this exploration, with having a fun adventure with the youngest version of yourself, it was interesting. The fun things for me were being in a field of flowers. So I am very much drawn to the countryside, much more than the beach. Yes, I love the beach, but being in the countryside is where I really relax and have fun. That soul settling feeling where you just feel at home. For me, that is in the country. That's in a green paddock surrounded by cows and flowers and waving grass, and that's my happy place. The other thing that I experienced, that fun for me was always more with one other person. And I know, and I became much more aware through COVID of just how introverted I am. Yes, I love to be on a stage. I can stand on a stage in front of 1,000 people and be completely in my element and happy, or in a group like this. Good morning, Crystal, Monica. Hi. Good morning, Liz. But in my authentic, authentic's the wrong word because I'm authentic in this space, but in my personal life, my happy place, my happy times are one-on-one. So I've got a small handful of very dear girlfriends, and when I'm one-on-one with them, that is my happy time. Yes, we get together, we were all together for my 50th, and it was fun and it was fabulous. But if I think about when I'm truly in my element, it is one-on-one with people. That is what I love, with my dearest friends and with my husband and with my children. Treasured times are the one-on-one connections for me. What else was fun? Being around horses, that came up. I was like, gosh, it's so long since I've been around horses. And it's not even just the riding. I love riding, but it is being around horses and touching them and their warmth and their smell. If I stick my nose in their neck, that just lights me up. I love shopping and I love dressing up. So in my meditation, in this childlike state, I was dressing up in my mum's high heels that were way too big for me. And she always had the most beautiful clothes, and she's very, very elegant, and playing in her clothes. And I love to do that now. And that is unapologetically something that is fun for me, is getting dressed up. And because I'm on video a lot, I get to do that. But, we haven't been out and about a lot, and I miss, it used to actually make me really sad to go to the theatre or to some event, and people just don't dress up anymore. And for me, it's missing out on part of the fun of going out, is dressing up. So I would love you to think about that. If you take time to just sit and do that fun exercise, and I'm sure Gabby Bernstein isn't going to be worried about me sharing this with you. She's that's not going to be part of the conversation, and I did learn this from her. So it is just taking that time to sit, picture yourself as the young version of you at a time when you were carefree. So for most of us, the most carefree we ever are is before we start school. It may be different for you, but just as a general rule of thumb, and allow that version of yourself to take you on an adventure of fun and find out what those activities are. And we have a picture in our minds that's supposed to look like a Coca-Cola commercial where you're surrounded by 50 unbelievably, best friends. And that's actually not the reality for most of us. And it doesn't, it's not necessarily the beach, or it's not necessarily something that we have been conditioned to think is a should. What is it for you? And that's, good morning, Janet. And that is a way to start playing with what is fun for me. So where I want to take you today as we dive into a new week. Yes, some of you it's Sunday night, but Monday morning for a lot of us. As we have this fresh slate in front of us, I was really wanting to concentrate on how do I get to support you to set yourself up with the intention to succeed within this challenge and within this week, and within the idea that this is a fresh beginning, a fresh start, a clean slate. Where can I get you to put your attention and your focus? And here's what I want you to put down on, with pen and paper. Good morning, Liz. Lovely to have you here. You will, pen and paper, write this down. You will find evidence for whatever you want to believe. You will find evidence for whatever you want to believe, be that positive or negative. Now, this is a really pivotal, powerful thing for us to grasp and understand, because if you need to change your belief system around something, you will find evidence to support it, but you get to go hunting. So we can break this down into lots of different areas, but let's look at some of the most powerful examples that I can give you, just so that we can anchor this in. Let's consider 9/11, and when the planes flew into the buildings. I was about to give birth to can you believe that was nearly 21 years ago? I was about to give birth to my beautiful daughter, Zoe, and she was due on that day. And I can remember waking up and hearing on the news what had happened, and just going, you are not coming today. This is not a day that you are going to arrive in the world on 9/11. And I held on to her until the 13th, when she was born, the 13th of September. But there were people, so where I'm taking you is you will find evidence for whatever you want to believe. There were people on this planet who thought that was a fabulous thing that happened, that Americans were arrogant and, whatever that conversation is, and that needed to happen, and it was a great thing. There were people on this planet that thought it was the most catastrophic, horrendous, horrific event to ever happen. Belief system. You will find evidence to support what you want to believe. Let's look at vaccinations. The current, the explosion in conversation and division that has happened around vaccinations over COVID. You will find evidence. If you want to believe that that is the best possible decision and that those that choose not to vaccinate are evil, you will find 100% scientific, foolproof evidence that that is the right decision. If you choose to believe that it is an appalling decision and you would be crazy to get it, you will find clear scientific evidence to support that that is true. Now let's look at diet. If you want to find evidence that being vegan is the only way to eat and it is the healthiest diet for you, you will find irrefutable evidence to support that that is true. If you want to believe that being carnivore or eating omnivore, eating meat, whatever the diet is, if that fits your belief system, if that fits your values, and that is what you want to believe, you will find evidence that it is true. Let's look at politics. If you want to believe that one party is the only party, they are doing all right and the other is evil, you will find evidence to support your belief systems, and vice versa. We are incredibly capable of finding evidence to support our belief systems. Now, they're all big world issues. Yes, they affect us as individuals, but let's break it down into something smaller. Where is in your life a situation where you have a belief system around something? It may be a belief system that you've taken on from an external source, but you have been convinced of that belief system. And so your brain has found evidence to support that it is true. So it may be that you have a belief system that you're not creative. So you went through a schooling system, you came out the other side, you had an art teacher that critiqued and gave you a fail for an art piece, and so, or a music piece, or for singing, or whatever that creative pursuit is. So from there, you built a belief system that you are not creative, that you can't play music, that you can't sing, that you can't draw, whatever that creative pursuit was. And you've carried that on for decades. You've created a belief system and you find evidence to support that is true. You may have a belief system that your father thought you were an embarrassing failure in life because you didn't do well in school, whatever that is. So then you carry that belief system forward. You think that you're not smart, you're not intelligent, you're not capable of doing grand things in the world. And so you find evidence to support that is true. So tell me in here, because I think this is something that you can take away, and we get to approach our belief systems with a level of curiosity. And curiosity is going to be one of your greatest friends, and definitely one of your greatest teachers. Because if you have a belief system that until now has kept you constricted, has kept you in a box that you wish you weren't in, then this is an opportunity to start to look outside of that, to start to think, okay, so if this is a belief that I have about myself, if this is a belief about how capable I am of something, then maybe if I look at that with curiosity and start to look for different evidence, I can open up the door to a world a new world of possibilities that until now I had kept firmly closed. Let me use the example of deciding to go grey, because I think this is something, well, as midlife women, it may be an interesting conversation to think about. I decided about 12 months ago, and I wish I'd actually documented it and written it down with more accuracy. But roughly 12 months ago, I got to the place, and yes, being in COVID helped the decision. But I was like, do you know what? I'm on video all the time. Deciding to go grey was, there was a level of vulnerability. How would people see me? How would I see myself? And I will be honest, I had conversations in my head about that perceived value of me as an older woman. So I didn't want my ability to be seen as an authority in my space to be diminished because I looked like I was past it, because I looked like I was too old. I didn't want to look like an old woman. So if you pick that apart, this is a belief system that I had taken on from the external environment that told me that having grey hair made you look old. Who says? So I decided to go on a mission to find evidence to support me to create a different belief system. So that's what I did. So I went into Pinterest, I went onto Instagram, and I started looking for women with grey hair that I felt looked powerful and strong, and youthful and vital and alive and fabulous. And I found them. Lots and lots and lots of them. I think, for those of you that have been with me for a while, you may have seen an interview I did with Caroline Lubischer, who was part of my of Phenomenal Feminine Entrepreneurs. So she became a model at 54. Thank you, darling. Thank you. So she became a model at 54, and she had been a receptionist in a high school, and suddenly she was doing nudes in Vogue magazine in her 50s and painting started a whole new career. She's fabulous. And she now supports other women to see what this looks like. Look at Judi Dench. Look at Helen Mirren. Look at all these incredible women. There are lots and lots and lots of them. So my whole belief system has been shifted. And so where is something in your life that you get to switch up a belief system? So using my pillars of health, wealth, time, and love, start to think about this. Health, physical health. So if you have had a mental health challenge up until this point, you have lived with something and accepted it as being part of your identity. Is there a belief system that you have taken on about that is not necessarily true? What is it? What are you capable of that you are restricting yourself by taking on a belief system about something? Thank you. So I really would love, whatever that is, write it down. No fault, blame, guilt, shame. There's no space in here for that. It doesn't serve you. It is irrelevant. We get to let go of fault, blame, guilt, and shame and just be curious. So with your physical health, where is it? Have you got aches and pains that you've just taken on and gone, well, it's just a part of life. That's where I'm at in my life. It's to be expected. And you've taken on a belief system that you are somehow going, your health is going to decline simply because you are at 50, 60, 70, whatever it is. It doesn't get to be true if you choose to create a different belief system. There are people, you go looking for evidence, there are people that start marathon running in their 70s. There are people, look at Jane Fonda and what she's doing now in her 80s. Look at Judi Dench, look at Helen Mirren, look at, perhaps you have women in your life. Go and watch, there's the Blue Zones documentaries about these people in their hundreds. into 100 and beyond that are still living beautiful, connected, community, healthy lives? Where is it? Hi, Melinda. So where is that physical health belief that you have taken on from the external environment that isn't serving you to be the woman you want to be or to create the life that you want to live? So let's look at wealth. And I touched on this yesterday for those that were able to tune in yesterday. Where are you in your life with wealth? Now, wealth and money is an interesting conversation for most women. And that's my experience of having spoken to many, many women and also just tuning in to other people's conversations. We have all these kind of restrictions and beliefs around wealth and what, one, it is to be wealthy, and two, our beliefs around what is possible for us as wealthy women. So what does wealth allow you to do? It allows you to have financial security. It allows you to shop in an empowered way. So it allows you to buy the things that you want to buy that you believe will serve you the best in your life. So it allows you to be more generous in the world. It allows you to have more confidence. Of that, I am certain. What does it allow you to do in your life? And what do you believe you are capable of generating? Now, I left school with the belief that I was really, to put it in blunt terms, pretty dumb, pretty basic. Didn't do well at school, wasn't good at academics. And I had a beautiful, loving, incredible father that grew up in a generation. He was 54 when I was born. So the generation of most people's grandparents that were my age. And he used to, in essence, pat me on this head and say, it's okay, you will meet a man who will care for you. And that loving intention that he had for me didn't serve me because it fed my belief that I wasn't ever going to be able to care for myself financially. That wasn't going to be my zone of genius. And it took me until I was in my 40s to really break that apart and to decide that I wanted to be responsible for my own financial independence. So wherever you are, there is a lot of evidence out there of people that have started incredible careers, and new vocations in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s and beyond, and taken responsibility for their financial independence in the world or for their financial stability. So what is that? I adore Judi Dench too, Melinda. So where is that? Where is your picture right now? And where have you got a belief system that something is too late or it's not for you, or that being the desire to be wealthy is somehow grubby, that you are going to be taking from other people in order to be wealthy? Is there a belief system that you have that is not serving you? And without fault, blame, guilt, shame, step into curiosity. What's possible? That's health, wealth, time. Where have you got a belief system around time? Now, one of the greatest things that has not served us in the Western world particularly is this badge of honor that comes with being exhausted and busy. Exhausted and busy somehow equates with being successful. I'm so worn out. I've been so busy doing this. It has become a natural way to live and a way to speak and a way to think that the harder what you work, the more successful you are. So if you think about that, let's instead think about, what does success mean to you? Now, there's a fantastic, and I wish that I'd actually written it down. I can go looking for it. If somebody knows, pop it in the comments. But there is an author out there that did a conversation with people at the end of their lives, and it's one of the most fabulous books. Oh, I wanted to see if I can see it straight away. I'll pop a link in if I'll find it, if somebody doesn't pop it in here. But the things that equated to success and the things that people really highlighted as being the most important things when they get to their end of their life, it's not how fancy the car is that you're driving in. It is not how fancy the house is that you're living in. It's the connectedness in your relationships. It is the your sense of fulfillment, what you've contributed in the world. These are the things. A Bonnie Ware, thank you, Melinda. The top 5 regrets of the dying. Absolutely. And maybe it is that a wish that you had prioritized your health and well-being, that you had spent time filling your cup up rather than just allowing everybody else to take until you're depleted, because that is your responsibility to make sure that your cup is filled enough. So they're the things that really you get to think about. What are you making time for? And what are your belief systems around time? And we have a habit of thinking about time as some arbitrary thing in the future. I will do that when time permits. How many people say that? Rather than saying, right, it is a non-negotiable for me to find the time to eat mindfully. It is a non-negotiable for me to find time to move my body and exercise. It is a non-negotiable for me to find time to spend one-on-one with the people in my life that are the most important: partners, children, siblings, parents, friends. Where is a time conversation that you have created a belief system around, so that you're telling yourself, you've created a story that you don't have time? Because time is actually promised to nobody. This is our most precious resource. And if you are living in a place of responsibility where nobody else gets to dictate, where do you get to attach value to the time that you have and make sure that it is being spent the most wisely? So that is the time conversation. So we've done health, wealth, time, and of course the fourth one is love. So where have you got a belief system that is not serving you? Remember, we're finding evidence for whatever we want to believe, and perhaps what we've wanted to believe until now has not served us. So where have you found evidence that you're not lovable? That there is nobody out there, if you're single, that there is nobody out there. There's no good men left. How many times do we get that story thrown at us? Where have you created a story that love for a sibling, there may be a relationship that broke down years and years and years ago, and you have created a belief system that can never be repaired? Is that serving you? Is that something that you still want to believe? Where is there a conversation about that love connection with a child that may or may not have gone wrong, or a parent, or a friend? Is there a belief system that you have created that is no longer serving you? So as you are doing this, I want to reiterate just again, please write it down. There is no fault, blame, guilt, shame. We are all a product of our environment. So whether you have grown up in an environment where everybody believed that one political party was the only party that you voted for, and if you vote for something different, you are a bad person. You are negligent, you don't care about society, you something. It is strong. It has come from your environment. You grew up with it. You've been surrounded by that. You've taken on a belief system and you hang on to it because it becomes part of your identity. And what if you just, within yourself, you don't need to discuss it with other people, or you can if you choose to. What if you just peel that back and look at it with different eyes and a different level of curiosity? So as you think about this, in terms of this particular conversation, where we are on a mission to become more extraordinary every day, to not accept this conversation that there is an inevitable decline in our value as women, in our health, in our looks, in our sexual relationships, all these different pieces that we may have created a belief system around that is not serving us. Where is something that you get to just pause, reflect? Where did I take on that belief system? Is it serving me? Can I let it go? What do I need to do to let it go? And start playing with that. So I'm curious, is there something that has popped up for anyone inside from this conversation? One thing, is there a frustration? Have you caught yourself saying, if only I had done something when I was younger? Is there a conversation in your head around it being too late for something? Is anyone going to be brave enough to put it in the comments? I'm curious. So shortly, I'm going to be bringing in our guest today, Stacy Mccarthy, who's here to talk to us about the big three, how we move, how we eat, and how we think. And I think this is such a powerful way to start this new week, is to just bring this conversation back to these three basics. And, I think that there is, well, I don't think, I know, and I have a strong belief around how we think about things determines everything else. It all starts in here, and we create these belief systems, and then we run our lives by them, and suddenly you can look up and go, hang on, I'm 50, I'm 60, I'm 70, I'm 80. Did that belief system really serve me? Was that really supporting me to create the life that I want to live? Was that supporting me to be moving always towards being the highest, most fabulous, authentic, magnificent version of myself? Or was it actually something that was holding me back and leaking the confidence out of me? Is there something? So Stacy Mccarthy, who is with us today, I hope she's sorted. We had a few technical things going on in the background, but I'm trusting that it's all going to work. So Stacy Mccarthy is an award-winning health and fitness leader and respected educator. Stacy was honored as the IDEA World Fitness Instructor of the Year, which is a prestigious award within the health and fitness industry. So I am so excited to introduce you to Stacy if you haven't yet met her, and to start this conversation about how we get to bring these big three together. Stacy, welcome, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm broadcasting in from beautiful San Diego, California, and I know you're in Australia, which is one of my favorite places. I've been to your country so many times, and it's my backup country. If it all goes haywire here in the US, I'm in Australia.
Do you know, my 19-year-old daughter is mad about horses, and she's got it in her heart. She's dying to come to the US. She's got a picture in her mind, I think, of Texas or Colorado, or it's a movie picture. So I think she's heading your way.
Or San Diego. I have horses. I have 2 horses that we ride, so she can come see me in San Diego. We can ride on the beach. She'll love it.
She will love it. I know she would. Stacy, thank you so much for coming. I know it's Sunday night for you, and that's it's a big ask, and I'm so thrilled that we were able to make this work. So within this, this series so far, we've talked about fitness, we've talked about food, we've talked about mindset, but I'm so excited to have you here so that we can just kind of pull these pieces together. We can get hyper fixated on one thing or the other, but really there's these 3 pieces that all get to fit together. So first and foremost, if you could just take a little minute, for those that haven't had the pleasure of meeting you until this moment, could you tell us, how did you actually come to be doing the work that you're doing now?
Oh gosh, well, I'll tell everyone a funny story. I was just speaking at a conference, a mastermind up in Los Angeles yesterday, and I shared this story. So when I went to college in Colorado, speaking of Colorado, beautiful Colorado, and one day I was coming out of the locker room with my Speedo swimsuit on, my cap and goggles in hand, and the swim coach said the pool pumps broke, so we're going to do dry land training of an aerobics class. And I'm like, aerobics class? What's an aerobics class? And she stuck a cassette tape in a boombox and then started yelling, jumping jacks, knees up. And then she started getting fancy on us with step touch and then grapevine. And I was like a fish out of water. I had 2 left feet. And when it was finally over, I loved it. I loved it. And the next day, I went in and I changed my major to exercise physiology. And when I graduated, a friend of a friend said he had somebody opening a health club in San Diego. Packed my car up, drove to San Diego, showed my newly minted diploma in exercise physiology, and I got the job. And then 2 weeks later, the manager calls me into his office and asked me to sit down. And he said, "You're fired." And I'm like, oh, I was embarrassed. I was disappointed, a little bit angry, but I knew why I was fired. I was fired because I was terrible, because I didn't know what I was doing. I literally had taken 1 class in a swimsuit on a pool deck, loved it. I had no training or anything. So I was smart enough to ask him, first, I said, thank you for the opportunity. 2, I said, what do I need to do to get better? And he said, you need to get a mentor. You need more training. And ironically, I'm leaving his office and I see on the front desk these brochures. And it caught my eye and I went over and grabbed it. And it was with this organization called IDEA. And it was training for instructors, aerobic instructors at the time. And I'm like, oh my God, this is it. And it reminded me of this wonderful book I had read called The Alchemist that says in it that when there's something you really, really want, the entire universe conspires in your favor. You just have to look for the signs. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a sign. This is a sign. I'm still supposed to do this. I know I'm supposed to do this. So I started training. And to make a long story short, you just gave a little bit of my background that at the lovely age of 60, 2021, I was nominated by our peers, the fitness professionals of the world, and I was the recipient of the 2021 World Health and Fitness Instructor of the Year. It came full circle from being fired to following my passion to putting in the work through all the setbacks to, by the age of 60, here I am at really the pinnacle. It's really the Academy Awards of my profession. And so how I got there, it was something I loved. And so for anyone who's wondering, you'll feel it in your heart of what it is you were meant to do and want to share.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness. Before you came on, I was talking about this idea that we will always find evidence for what we're looking for, what is possible for us. We create these belief systems. And I think, where I'd love to take this conversation now is, as we've come through these generations, we've come through, the low fat and all these different trends that come and go inside the nutrition world and the fitness world. You will have seen it all. And how do we decipher? How do we pick through and work out what is true, what isn't, what's going to work for us? Because I think when there's so much, it can get a bit paralyzing and kind of throw your hands up and go, well, forget it.
100%. Question I get asked often. And I will say one more thing about what you started off with, that, that basically the universe is conspiring in our favor. The universe, though, doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you need so you can become the person that you want. And so there's a big difference. Sometimes people are like, oh, the universe gives me what I want. No, it doesn't give you what you want. Sometimes it's not what you want. I didn't want to be fired, but that's what I needed to put in all the work over all these decades to be the person I needed to be. So I just wanted to add that little footnote as you started off. Okay, so if you're like me, you probably tried all the latest exercise trends and diet trends throughout the the decades, and some of them worked and some of them probably didn't work. And if they didn't work, it's not your fault. There's just too much information out there. And so with all of this information, I call it infobesity, especially with, the internet, right? It's just infobesity. And it's like, oh my God, I try to do keto. Should I be a vegan? Should I be this? Should I be that? It's just crazy out there.
Yep.
Same with exercise, should I be doing boot camp? Should I be, there's all this stuff out there vying for our attention. So what I've done is I've really looked at our habits, both good and bad. And while we can put those in many different categories, I just simplified it and put it into what I call the big three, which is mastering how you move, how you eat, and how you think. And when we these are the things that really make up our lifestyles when we're doing this. And so when we come to these three areas with intention, with consciousness of our movement, our consumption, and our thoughts, we're really addressing the whole person, body, mind, and spirit. And that's really what I'm concerned with, is the whole person. I'm not really concerned with little pieces, but really of making us whole. And so, of course, as you know, and you talk so much about, thoughts are our biggest thing, because how we think is how we act. So it always comes to our thoughts first and foremost. So you can do everything. You can think you're doing everything right, and how you move. You can think you're doing everything right of eating the perfect diet. But if your thoughts are toxic, it doesn't matter. You're going to hold on to everything. So I know you talk so much about this. So these are the areas that I really look at, and I don't believe in excessive dieting. I don't believe in excessive exercise. I believe that we look at what works best for who we are and where we're at in life. And there's not a one size fits all, but I do have some beliefs that I think work well for the majority of people. One is mindful movement, so obviously I'm a, yoga specialist. That's my thing, yoga and meditation. And I believe that the reason I love yoga is because there's a difference between exercise and health. So exercise and athletics and sports, those are designed to have us perform something specific, whatever it is. Health, on the other side, is the well-being of everything, your cardiovascular system, your hormones, your endocrine system, everything. It looks at everything. And yoga is the practice of health. So yoga is here to heal everything. Yes, the musculoskeletal system, but it's also looking at your hormones. It's looking at everything. So I like practices that are very mindful, that are working with improving your health or maintaining your health. And then the other beautiful thing about yoga, and I'm going to advocate for it again and again, because I love time-tested practices. I started this off with, the latest exercise trends, the latest dieting trends. Yoga's time-tested, 5,000 plus years of something that works. That's something that's so popular today that, it's been centuries. So it works. It works. And a lot of what I teach is pulled from those ancient scriptures and practices and brought into the modern day. So that's the reason that I really advocate. I also advocate, I was one of the owners of a chain of superfood cafes. We had them in San Diego and Los Angeles. We had 9 different superfood cafes, and they were plant-based. And they took out most of the allergens that a lot of people have: dairy, soy, gluten, sugars, of course, and with very culinary, beautiful foods. There's a lot of stuff out there of all different kinds. I'm not saying everyone needs to be a vegan, but I do believe that everyone benefits from eating more plants and eating more plant food. I believe everyone benefits, because we have too much of, engineered edible substances, AKA junk food, that people consume. And so the more we get back to greens, to, beautiful vegetables and fruits, the healthier we're going to be.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that there is that there is so much value in looking at traditional wisdom. We're always looking for the new thing, the new scientific breakthrough about something. But if we take time, I mean, there's two things that I want to pull out of what you just said that I think are super powerful. One is in this era of online education, we really get to connect with people who have lived through, put it through their life experience, a practice, and have learned the shortcuts, what worked, what didn't, and now go on to teach it. That is who I want to learn from. And your experience of coming out and being the young person with the certificate, that is not the person that we really want to learn from. We want to learn from somebody that had the injuries, did the work, and went, okay, so this is how you avoid this is what worked with that. And I think about this in all sorts of areas. If you go through a divorce and you want to get counseling or support, going to see a 22 or 23-year-old that's come out and learned it in university, has never been married, probably hasn't been in a relationship, that's actually not who I want to learn from. And I think this is this idea, or this connection that we now have to women like yourself that have done all the hard yards. You've put in the practice, you've done the work, you've tried lots of different things, you've worked out what works for you, and now you're passing that on. The value in that is enormous. It is enormous. And I just really want to highlight that point, because I think we can get fixated on who has this certificate or who has this, university degree in something. But I think the university of life is actually where the value lies, which is what you're sharing.
Yeah, and I think I call it empirical wisdom, that you've embodied actually what you've done. You've been through it, and there is a real beauty to that, the wisdom that comes with doing. I'm a big believer and advocate of not just talking about it, but action. You've got to practice it, because there's so much, and I do so many podcasts and different things, and talk, and I'm always like, hey, let's feel it, let's embody it, let's do it. In fact, if you don't mind, Edwina, I would absolutely love it if we could stand up and we could have everyone do a little bit. I'll do a little opening of just aligning the body, some of the things that I work with people on. So first, what I do is I really align the body so you have perfect posture. Then we start to work with the mind to start to release and let go of the negative thoughts and replace them with the more positive thoughts. And then I work with the breath. And the breath is what brings clarity and vitality to the mind. And then we'll do a little tiny bit of movement, because, quite honestly, we talk so much, and I peruse through all of your different videos, and I'm like, hey, I need to get you up and let's practice a little, just for like 5 to 10 minutes, and let people experience it, because I can talk all day about it.
Yeah.
But there's a power to action, and doing it. Would you be willing to do that?
Of course.
If you've been listening, you guys, it will be simple. Yeah. It's breathing. That's what it is. So I'm going to set my camera, so hopefully you can see me. Let me move back a little bit. Let me pop it up a little bit higher. Sorry. I'm usually on I have a big camera in my room, but I'm on my laptop now. And I think, can you got to tell me, Edwina, if you can see at least my body here?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's beautiful, Stacy.
And can you hear me okay?
Yep. You might need to speak up just a little bit, but yes, I think it works.
You can hear me okay?
Yep.
Give a little bit of a tilt. All right. You won't be able to see me perfectly, but you will get the idea. So I would like everyone to stand up, because you know what? Sitting is the new smoking. So at least I want to get you up for a minute. And once you're standing, we're going to take a pose called Tadasana, which is the mountain pose. So you'll bring your feet about hips width distance apart. And then with the feet hips width distance apart, they're parallel. They're pointing straight ahead. Sometimes we don't realize it, but we stand with the feet turned out. When we stand with the feet turned out, we tend to dump into the low back. Sometimes we're a little pigeon-toed, and then we force our shoulders to slump forward. So your feet are pointing straight ahead, and they're about hips width distance apart. Now lift up your lower belly as you release down the tailbone so your pelvis is neutral. Stack your shoulders over the hips. Bring your outer arms in line with your sideways, and now turn open your palms and let your fingers have a little party. Spread the fingers open wide. Your chin's parallel to the ground. So now you've stacked all your joints, ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, ears, and crown of the head. Once the joints are stacked, I'd like you to press down evenly into all four corners of your feet until there's an energy lift, right up to the center arch of your foot. It's going to lift up to the kneecaps. The kneecaps lift up to the hips. So the quadriceps are engaged, the front of the thighs are firm. Keep that lift up through your low belly. As the low belly lifts, your waist draws in, the rib cage knits in, and your collarbone spread as the shoulders release back and down. So ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, ears, and crown of the head are all stacked. And now with your bones aligned, with your muscles stable, the musculoskeletal system has balance and symmetry. And once you have balance and symmetry, you can gently close your eyes. And as your eyes close, I'd like you to begin your own inner journey away from the external and in towards the internal, in towards your own inner body wisdom. I'd like you to give your brain a rest from all its old mental habits, the same redundant, recycled, unnecessary thoughts and emotions that contribute and facilitate stress. I'd like you to let those go. And if you forgot what those were, there's a lot of them, but I'll remind you of a few. Let go of the tension, the worry. Let go of the stress, the judgment, the embarrassment, the disappointment. Let go of the complaining, the condemnation, the criticism. Can you let go of the fear, the anger? Let it go. It was never you. It was a story that you created from the external. And your practice is to return back to who you really are, at your true self, your authentic self, your soul self, which is a state of being, of abundant joy and unconditional love. Everything else is a story. And you're under no obligation to be the same person right now that you were 5 minutes ago. And with your eyes closed, I'd like you to bring your palms together. We call this Anjali Mudra. And then allow your thumbs to just gently graze at the heart center. Now, not the organ of the heart, but there's an energy at the center of the heart called Anahata Chakra. This is the heart energy. And there's a still point that's located behind your sternum and in front of the scapula. It's the place of love, compassion, gratitude. As you start to move towards your higher consciousness, your higher self. And if you find that those old thoughts start to creep back in, you can replace them. Replace the tension with tranquility. Replace the stress with serenity. Replace the fear with love. You can't hold two thoughts at the same time, so you choose. What do you prefer? And just the slight graze of the thumbs at the heart center activates your brain-heart coherence. It's helping you get out of your head and into your heart. And now we'll anchor it in your breath. It's called Ujjayi Breathing, a courageous, victorious breath with your mouth closed and the inhales and exhales through your nose. And as you're tuning into the sound of your breath, as you're anchored in your heart, take 3 more deep breaths.
Help me, please.
And then gently open your eyes back up to center and release your hands back down. Good, so I'll stop it there. I'm gonna stop it there primarily. And this is live, everyone.
So beautiful.
I take care of my 90-year-old mom with dementia, who's decided now to walk into my studio and say hi.
Join us. That's lovely. That's lovely.
This is what happens in live TV or live broadcast.
She's
I
welcome.
I hope you got the essence. And normally we'd go a little bit longer with it, but I know, we've got a short time together. But when we take the time, this is one of the beauties of this practice, and we're mindful, we're starting to move with the breath. It's awakening us from the inside out. And it's for a lot of people, sitting in meditation is very difficult. But when we add the breath to it and we add this little bit of greater focus of letting go of the story and tuning into who we really are, we reconnect. We reconnect to ourselves. We reconnect to all things everywhere. So this deeper connection of something bigger than yourself. And that's one of the reasons that mindful movement to me is so powerful.
So beautiful. Oh, that was such a gift. Thank you for doing that.
I mean, and honestly, so many people, and if you've never taken yoga, one of the misconceptions is yoga is about touching your toes, but yoga is about touching your soul. It doesn't care if you can touch your toes. It's about touching your soul.
Yeah.
If you practice long enough, you will touch your toes.
Is there a yoga practice that you think, I know there's lots of different types of yoga, that you think is particularly great for beginners, or where do you tend to point people who are starting?
I think for a lot of people, it's the teacher. So my first yoga class, I did not like it all. I didn't like it at all. There wasn't a connection to the teacher. And so I think a lot of it is who you're practicing with. Do you feel a connection to what they're teaching philosophically? There's so many different philosophies, especially nowadays. But do you feel that connection? Are they taking you somewhere that makes you want to come back again and again? And I will say most people give up too soon. I say, 10 times minimum consistently. Like, it's on your calendar Tuesday, Thursday, every morning, and you do it no matter what, like brushing your teeth, and do it at least 10 times, because if you judge it on your first or second time, like many things, you'll give up.
Yeah. If I can ask you two questions, and I'm aware that your mum may need you, so please let us know if you need to run.
She's wandered off again. Okay. She has dementia. She wanders in, she wanders off.
That's beautiful. So 2 questions. One, there's so much talk about weights and lifting weights for midlife women. Do you add lifting weights to your yoga practice, or is yoga enough?
I do not. And I think I told you, like, I have really good muscle definition. It's the style of yoga that I teach. So for me, the beauty of it is I can do it anywhere. I don't have to lug a bunch of weights around with me. I have no excuse. I don't even need a mat. You can do it. So the style of yoga that I teach builds quite a bit of strength within your own body. So I do planks. I do push-ups, but they're modified. It's really based on who's there. So most of the people that take my classes are women over 40 to 45. Yep. And I have them up to 80 in my class, 80 years old who've been practicing. And you go step by step. You start with something easy, spinal flexion and extension on all fours. What can you do? And you build up. So it depends on the style of yoga, because if the yoga's too gentle, you're going to need to do some muscular strengthening. So the reason I love the style that I teach is because everything's treated equally. Your strength, your flexibility, your balance, your focus, your breath, it's all equal. And every pose is treated equally. Because you can do a handstand doesn't make it any better than Tadasana, that mountain pose that we did. Everything's treated equal. And so a lot of this is, again, the mind. To me, yoga is the liberation of the mind. It's not who can do a back bend.
Yeah, love it. And if I can ask you, in the few minutes that we've got left, I am so passionate about getting women to understand the value of meditation. And I think that still so often it is something that feels we can attach a belief about it's a bit frivolous, or it's not really going to serve me, and I just know from my own practice how life-changing it is. So can you talk to us a little bit about why you see meditation as something that's so powerful?
Meditation. So the teaching of meditation and the style I teach, which is an 8-limbed path, is number 7 of the 8 limbs. The asana, or the yoga movement's number 3. And here's why. Because when the asana, or the yoga poses, are designed to create freedom in the body so you can sit comfortably. If you can't sit comfortably, it's very difficult for you to just sit there still without going, oh, my foot's asleep, or my back hurts, or my knee hurts, or whatever it is. So it's a step-by-step process. And so the process, and this is also what I teach, is we align the body, we wake up the body, we balance your body. Then we start to work with what's called sensory withdrawal, withdrawing your senses. I did a little bit from the external into the internal. That's the next step. Your body's aligned. Now we start to move away from the noise and the chaos outside of ourselves, and we start to find the stillness within ourselves. So that's the next step. The step after that is breath. So we start to focus on our breath, noticing the breath patterns, noticing how the body moves with the breath pattern. From the breath, then we go into the next step, which is deep focus and concentration. And when the focus and the concentration become unbroken, then it turns into that state of meditation. Yeah. And meditation is where the real inner journey begins. But there's all of this out there, like, oh, I should sit and meditate. Oh, I need to go grocery shopping. Oh, I need to work with the kids, whatever. All of this is calling. Well, how are you going to sit and meditate if you were not even able to sit comfortably? If you couldn't even focus your mind or concentrate your mind on a single thing, how are you ever expected to sit there still and be able to do that? Yeah. So I think like having a step-by-step process is very helpful to help people meditate rather than them feeling like a failure because they can't sit there and meditate. And here's the thing. The other thing that I teach a lot of is meditation. I teach a Vipassana meditation, which means being able to sit and observe your breath. Yeah. And I also do a mantra one. And so that's a mantra is a mind vehicle that we're directing our mind. But in it, it's merely noticing your breath, focusing and concentrating on your breath. I do this also in the yoga practice. And then noticing, oh, there, my breath wandered again. There it goes. But you noticed your thoughts wandered. And so then you come back to your breath. And the fact that you even notice that your thoughts are all over the place and wandering, you're a winner. You've won because you noticed and you came back to your breath. And so too many people feel like a failure because they're like, my mind's all over the place. I can't sit here. I'm going crazy. Each time you notice my mind's all over the place and you return to your breath, I don't care if it's 2 or 3 times. I'm inhaling, I'm exhaling. You're a winner. You're strengthening the tensile strength of the mind. And this is very important for people to understand is you are not a loser. It's not that you can't do it because your mind's all over the place. You're strengthening it because you notice now. How many people go through the world and have no idea? They're saying the same thoughts all over and over, and then they're acting a certain way. Because as we said earlier, your thoughts create how you act. And so this fact that, oh, I notice that I keep having this same complaint in my head. Oh, I noticed that. Come back to my breath. And you're strengthening it. And it takes time. It takes practice. That's why, again, I reinforce practice, practice, practice.
And bringing that, that the differentiation perhaps between mindfulness and meditation. Yes, there's a connection, but I find
that for everyone so they understand, because some people don't understand what mindfulness is and what meditation is. So just to take it one layer deeper, because a lot of times we use a lot of words and people don't really understand what they're saying. They're like, I'm going to be mindful. So the word mindfulness is paying attention on purpose in the present moment without judgment. So this is a practice, again, of increasing our focus and concentration. Now, when your focus and concentration become unbroken, then it merges into that state of meditation. So mindfulness is this beautiful step towards the state of meditation.
I have a practice of attaching mindfulness to things that I do every day. So it can be, brushing my teeth. Rather than my brain thinking about the 50,000 things that I need to do, I have created a practice where I actually think about each tooth that I'm brushing and being, like it's those practices that attach to everyday routines. You know, whether we get in the car, we often drive completely mindlessly because we can do it on autopilot. But if you create this idea of, okay, I'm actually sitting in the seat and I'm putting on my seatbelt and I'm putting my hat, you know, like it's just finding ways to bring ourselves into the present moment, because it is so easy to never live in the present moment. We're always got, you know, these busy brains that are off doing things.
Well,
So
the average person,
yeah,
the average person stays in the present moment, statistics show, for 3 seconds before their brain goes somewhere else. So living in the present moment, 1, 2, 3, oh, there it goes. So one of the things as we talk about eating, and because we did a little more movement and thoughts, one thing on eating, if I can leave another tip, is one of the things I lead in a lot of my retreats and different things is mindful eating. So when you, a lot of times, if you can turn off all the noise, all the external noise, silence, and really enjoy that bite of whatever it is feel every little bit of it as you do it, and be so mindful of it, because most of the time we're shoveling in while we're driving, while you know, whatever's going on. So adding that mindfulness to your eating. And one more thing I wanted to say to everyone here, because I'm loving this conversation so much, is if you wander over to my website, I have a free gift up there. I should have put up the QR code for you, but I have a book on mastering the big three, an ebook. It's free. It's completely free, but I give you specific things you can do in each of these areas. A specific movement, very simple. I show you how to do a little morning practice, specific things you can do, simple techniques for your eating, and then simple morning AM and PM practices for your thoughts. And so, yeah, connect and be on the journey with everyone.
That's fantastic. We're going to put a link for that. I think that's the free gift that you offered. So we've got the link for that. So we're going to pop it in the Facebook group so it's easy to find, and I'll send it out via email shortly. So everybody will be able to find that so easily. Thank you so much for your time, precious time on a Sunday evening that you've spent with us. It's been an absolute delight, Stacy. Thank you.
Thank you. And maybe we can end with everyone just coming, bringing your palms together, and may you have clarity of mind, warmth in your heart, smiles on your face. Thank you, thank you, thank you for this really wonderful conversation. Thank you, Edwina.
Thank you. All right, beautiful women. What an absolutely delightful, amazing, impactful, inspiring, uplifting session. I'm so glad that you could be with us. Enjoy. As I said, that gift link will be in the Facebook group, and we'll send it out via email. We've got 3 days. This is until Wednesday, 3 days left together. I've got lots of people that have decided to join inside the Enliven Vision Board workshop that is starting on the 5th of September. What I want to do, because I know that so many people sit and wait until the last minute, and I want to support you to make a powerful decision now, today, before we finish up this session. So what I'm going to do is throw in a private one-on-one conversation. So for my clients that have access to me and through these private conversations, they are paying between $10,000 and $15,000 to work with me for these private one-on-one conversations. And what I want to do in this space until the end of this challenge, I'm offering to do a one-on-one conversation with you inside the Enliven Vision Board workshop program, because I know the impact that can be had if you are supported with somebody who can help you to see belief systems that you have created and hung on to for possibly decades that are no longer serving you. And so then we can create a vision for a new set of possibilities and the life that you want to create. So that is only available until the end of this challenge. Along with that, I've also offered for you to bring a friend. So you can offer that as a gift, or you can decide to split the cost between you. So enjoy this. Jump in, grab your copies of Stacy's beautiful free gift. All the free gifts from the speakers are inside the Facebook group, and I'm sending them out via email every day. All right, that's it today, and I will see you again tomorrow morning. All right, beautiful souls, so much love, and bye for now.